In today's episode, we're diving deep into two key concepts that can absolutely transform your business. I'm talking about systems and processes. Now, I know this might sound like a dry topic, but trust me, once you fully understand these two ideas and how they work together, you'll start seeing real results. By the end of this episode, you'll understand the difference between systems and processes, why both are essential for growing your business, and how you can start implementing them today to create more structure and efficiency around the work you're already doing. Hey there, and welcome to the Indie Made Business Podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl Ham, a former corporate sales girl who traded in the 9-to-5 grind for the creative freedom of running my own 7-figure hand-dyed yarn and subscription box business. In the process, I learned that when you're the one making the products you sell, the path to growth looks a little different. But that's what makes being a creative business owner so unique. You've got to find a way to balance your craft, your business goals, and the life you want to create. So on this podcast, we're rolling up our sleeves and diving into real, actionable strategies that will help you build a business that gives you more freedom, whether that's more time, more income, or simply the ability to do what you love on your own terms. So get comfy, grab your favorite drink, and let's get into it. Before we dive into the technical side of things, let me take you back to when I was first starting out with hypnotic yarn. If you're like me, you probably started out doing everything yourself. I know that was definitely my experience. I remember those early days as a blur of chaos. When I wasn't working at my full-time sales job, I was running around trying to handle everything in my business. Dyeing the yarn, packing the orders, answering the emails, managing the website, trying to figure out marketing. The list went on and on. There was no rhyme or reason to it. Every day felt like I was putting out fires, trying to catch up, and barely keeping my head above water. And if you're thinking, so when did you get to spend time with family or friends? Yeah, I'm not proud to admit this, but that wasn't happening very much. One thing I'll never forget is the constant anxiety around my bare yarn inventory. I was always second guessing whether I had enough yarn on hand to fulfill upcoming orders, especially when it came to my monthly yarn subscription, which had really started to grow. The thought of my supplier running out of stock when I needed a yarn base kept me up at night. I'd worry about how far it would set me back if I had to stop everything and wait for more yarn to arrive. I didn't have an inventory system in place. I had no process for tracking what I had or what I needed. It felt like I was operating on the edge, hoping for the best, but constantly bracing for the worst. That's when I realized I needed a system. I had to create a process to manage my bare yarn inventory so I could stop feeling overwhelmed. I started by developing a simple process. I documented every step, from which yarn bases I used, how I ordered yarn from my supplier and how I received it when it was delivered, to recording what I'd taken from stock when it was time to dye, and then planning for future needs. From there, I built a broader system that supported the entire operation, ensuring that I wouldn't get caught without the materials I needed. It didn't happen overnight, but once those systems and processes were in place, I finally felt in control. I wasn't constantly playing catch-up, and the anxiety that came from not knowing if I had enough yarn on hand started to go away. But have you ever heard the saying, new level, new devil? As the business has grown, our needs have continued to evolve. What worked when we were smaller no longer fits as we scale. The difference now is that because I built systems early on, adjusting them as we grow is so much easier than starting from scratch. That's why creating processes and systems early on is so important. When you have a solid foundation, you can tweak and refine as you go, staying ahead of challenges instead of constantly reacting to them. Now that you've heard a little about my experience, let's break down exactly what a process is. At its most basic level, a process is just a series of actions or steps that you follow to complete a task or reach a goal. In your handmade business, a process is simply a repeatable action that leads to an outcome. Think of a process like the recipe for making your product, or delivering your service, or even managing a customer interaction. Processes are straightforward and detailed. So, for example, let's take the process of fulfilling an order. If a customer places an order, your process to ensure the order is shipped correctly and promptly might look a little something like this. First, you receive the order from an online store or platform. Then you verify the customer's information and ensure you have enough stock. Next, you pick the products from your inventory. And once all the orders are picked, you weigh them and purchase the shipping labels. After that, you might write a thank you note on each packing slip and pack up each order one by one. Then you print each shipping label and attach it to the packages. Next, you might send an email confirmation to the customer with tracking information. Then you'll gather all your packages together in a bag or container. And finally, you'll ship the packages via your chosen carrier by either dropping them off at the carrier's location or placing them in a predefined area for pickup at your location. Each of these steps is part of a process. They're sequential and can be repeated every time you receive an order. This ensures you don't miss any important steps and that your customer receives their order quickly and correctly. So while processes focus on specific actions, a system is the framework or structure that connects these actions together and makes sure everything works smoothly. Think of processes and systems like pieces of a puzzle. A process is the step-by-step set of actions you take to get something done, like tracking inventory or packing an order. And a system is how all of those pieces fit together to keep your business running smoothly, to save you time and avoid mistakes. So let's continue with our example of order fulfillment. An order fulfillment system brings together a few key processes, including an inventory process, like tracking what products you have in stock, an order process, like keeping track of customer orders and where they are in the process, a shipping process, such as printing shipping labels, packaging and sending the orders out, and a customer communication process, such as sending order confirmations, shipping updates, and follow-up emails. Now, platforms you might already use like Shopify, Etsy, or WooCommerce automate some of these processes behind the scenes. For example, when an item is ordered, it might automatically be removed from inventory, helping you avoid overselling. However, even when things are automated, it's essential to understand how these processes work together. Automation is only as good as the system supporting it. If something breaks or doesn't sync properly, you could still end up overselling products, missing customer emails, or delaying shipments. Without a system, these processes work in isolation, which can lead to mistakes. But when they're connected and monitored, everything runs more smoothly, saving you time and headaches. Now, here's the important question. Why do you need both systems and processes? Why can't you just have processes or just have systems? Well, processes are the engine that drives your business, but systems are the infrastructure that makes the engine run smoothly. You need processes to outline how specific tasks are done, but without a system to manage and organize those tasks, the process might not get completed efficiently or consistently. Let's build on the bare yarn inventory process I mentioned earlier. Once I had a clear process for tracking and managing my bare yarn inventory, I realized that was just one piece of the puzzle. For everything to run smoothly, that process has to connect with other areas of my business. So let's look at how my bare yarn inventory process fit into the larger system. Because the process didn't exist in isolation, it worked seamlessly with other key areas of the business to keep everything running smoothly. So one piece of the system was production planning. Since my subscription offering functions sort of like a pre-sale, I can't simply dye whatever yarn I have on hand. I need very specific yarn bases in exact quantities to fulfill subscription orders. My system tracks precisely what needs to be dyed and ensures the correct yarn bases are available when I need them, preventing any production delays. Another process in the system is managing raw materials and supply inventory. Yarn isn't the only thing I need to track. I also rely on a system that monitors all raw materials and packing supplies. Inventory counts update automatically as materials are used, and supplier orders are triggered when stock levels drop. This ensures I never run out of essential items and keeps production on schedule. Then I have a process for quality control and order preparation. After dyeing our yarn, the system ensures that everything is properly labeled, the right amount of packages are put together, and everything gets ready for final packing. This eliminates last-minute scrambles and prevents shortages, providing confidence that each order can be fulfilled without hiccups. And then lastly, we have our supplier management. Supplier delays have the potential to disrupt everything in my business, so my system incorporates planning and reorder points that provide a buffer. This means I'm never caught off guard by out-of-stock items and can maintain a steady workflow without interruptions. All of these areas together form my inventory management system, a larger framework where processes work together supported by tools and schedules that keep everything moving efficiently and in the same direction. The system is what connects the dots. It ensures that I have the right materials and the right quantities at the right time, so production and fulfillment can happen without any unnecessary interruptions. Without a system tying everything together, I would have isolated processes that don't communicate, leading to production delays, missing materials, or rushed supplier orders. In business, systems ensure that everything needed for your process is in place, organized, and ready to go, so you can execute tasks efficiently and effectively without the chaos. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get mentioned enough, and that's decision fatigue. Decision fatigue happens when your ability to make decisions becomes worse after making too many decisions throughout the day. The more decisions you have to make, big or small, the harder each one becomes. Eventually, this can lead to poor choices, procrastination, or feeling completely overwhelmed. Want a simple example? Think about those times when you're trying to decide where to go out for dinner with someone. The conversation goes something like this: Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Neither of you can settle on a place because after a long day of making decisions, your brain is just done. That's decision fatigue in action, when even something as simple as choosing between tacos and Italian subs feels impossible. Now imagine that same feeling applied to your business, where the choices you make carry a lot more weight. As a business owner, you're constantly faced with decisions. Do I have enough yarn for this month's subscription? When should I reorder supplies? What needs to be dyed today? How should I prioritize production tasks this week? At first, these questions might seem manageable, but when you're answering them every day on top of the bigger choices that come with running a business, it drains your mental energy. Over time, even small decisions feel exhausting, and that exhaustion can slow you down or cause you to make mistakes. This is where systems and processes really shine. When you have systems and processes in place, many of these routine decisions are already made for you. The process lays out how a task gets done, while the system ensures they happen when they need to, without you having to constantly think about it. For example, my inventory management system tracks stock levels and automatically triggers supplier orders when they drop below a certain point. I don't have to decide when to reorder or worry about running out of supplies. The system takes care of it. This reduces mental clutter and frees up your brain power for the things that really matter, like creating new products, designing marketing strategies, and planning for growth. When your processes are clearly defined and supported by strong systems, you minimize the daily mental load. You can focus your energy on high-impact areas, reduce stress, and avoid the exhaustion that comes from decision fatigue. So now that you understand the difference between systems and processes and why having both is so important, let's talk about how to build them for your business. Here's a step-by-step breakdown. Start by identifying the core areas of your business that need processes. These might include things like order fulfillment, customer service, inventory management, marketing, and financial tracking. List out the major tasks you perform regularly in each area. This will help you see where processes are needed and how they contribute to the overall workflow. For example, in my business, one of the most critical systems we rely on is our inventory management system. This system ensures we always have the right materials on hand, inventory counts remain accurate, and production stays on schedule. Step number 2 is to document and map each process. Once you've identified a process, break it down step by step. This is often called an SOP, or Standard Operating Procedure. The more detailed you are, the easier it will be for you and anyone else you bring onto your team to follow it consistently. You can document this as a simple checklist, flowchart, or a written guide. And there are softwares that you can use to make this process a lot easier. I'll link to them in the show notes in case you're interested in checking them out. So let me show you how this works using our inventory management system as an example. Our system includes several interconnected processes, each playing a vital role. Our purchase order process is triggered when our inventory software alerts us that a stock level has dropped below its set threshold. This process includes placing purchase orders, tracking open POs, monitoring shipments in transit, and updating expected delivery dates. Our inventory receiving process ensures that when inventory arrives, it's properly received, counted, recorded, and stored. Our inventory updating process involves updating both physical and digital inventory records to reflect accurate stock levels. Our production tracking process logs our daily yarn dyeing activities, tracking finished products, and deducting raw materials from inventory. And we have a final verification process that we use when we have large orders that are coming onto our dock but have shipped over several days or weeks. This process verifies that all items have been received from our order and nothing is missing. So let's take a closer look at just one of these processes, the inventory receiving process, a key part of our overall inventory management system. First, we verify shipments upon arrival. When bare yarn inventory arrives on our dock, we match the waybill number on the box with the printed shipping notification to confirm we're receiving the correct shipment. Next, we review and count the inventory. We open the package, we review the contents, and count the yarn to ensure that everything matches what the supplier said would be in that shipment. Then, if needed, we label each item with our own internal product numbers for easy tracking and consistency across all of our records. And then the person who physically receives in the package once it lands on our loading dock updates a paper tracking sheet that they print from a template. This sheet is then passed to the team member responsible for updating our inventory management software, ensuring our digital records reflect accurate counts. And then we store the documentation. So our packing slip is stored in a designated location along with our internal tracking sheets, a printed copy of our purchase order, and any other paperwork associated with the delivery for future reference. And we hold on to this paper trail until every package in the order lands on our dock and has been physically received in. So step 3 is to design your systems around your processes. Once your processes are documented, it's time to connect them into a cohesive system. And if you remember, systems are the framework that links individual processes together and ensure everything flows smoothly across your business. So in our inventory management system, each process supports the others. The purchase order process ensures that we reorder materials before running out. The inventory receiving process guarantees that everything we've ordered is properly received and accounted for. The inventory updating process keeps digital and physical records aligned. The production tracking process tracks all daily dyeing activities, ensuring raw materials are deducted and finished goods are accurately logged. And the final verification process ensures that when large orders that we've placed arrive on our dock over multiple shipments, every single item is accounted for. These processes working together form a complete inventory management system that keeps production running smoothly, prevents shortages, and eliminates last-minute surprises. Then the next thing that you're going to want to do, which is step 4, is test, measure, and optimize. Once you've implemented your systems and processes, it's important to test them. Remember at the beginning of this episode when I said new level, new devil? Yeah, this is where that really comes into play. As your business grows, new challenges are bound to show up. The systems and processes that worked perfectly when you first started might not be enough as you level up. And that's totally normal. The good news is that when you've got solid systems in place, making adjustments is so much easier. Keep an eye on how everything runs and tweak things when needed. For example, maybe your order fulfillment process is running like clockwork, but your marketing system feels a little clunky. Could you automate email follow-ups? Or is there a better way to manage your social media content? The goal here is to keep your systems flexible and ready to evolve so that when you hit that next level, you're not stuck fighting the same old devils. If this sounds like something you want to put into practice in your business, I have a Systems and Processes workbook to help you get started. You can find the link for that down in the show notes. And before we wrap things up, if you've been enjoying the podcast, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I've got so much more content coming your way to help you streamline your business and stay focused on what really matters. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Keep taking action, stay focused, and remember, you're building something incredible, and I'm here to help you make it happen. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Indie Made Business. If you have a business bestie who could benefit from today's conversation, I'd love for you to share the link with them. Remember, it's all about community over competition. We rise by lifting each other up, and when we support one another, we all grow stronger and create something truly amazing together. For more resources and to connect with me online, visit the Indie Made Business website. You'll find the link in the show notes. And I can't wait to continue supporting you on your business journey. See you next time.